Okay, guys, so let's start the lecture. So first thing that I believe you are working on your assessment. So make sure clarify any doubts, questions, issues you're having about the assessment. So we need to get a progress presentation soon. And that's the first one. Any questions at this point? And I think there are some students who are doing what do you call these supplementary exams. So I think Shiva already informed me. If there's anyone, let me know again. And the video will be available, but I really want everyone to participate. Otherwise, you're losing a lot of things. Yes, so the Podia page, I'll make sure that is available. I couldn't pay the monthly amount, so it's really expensive these days. So I'll do that and make sure that is available tomorrow onwards. Right. And any other questions? Hope no, right? Yeah. So please ask your friends to join in. Okay, so I think we can start. So like I told you in the chat, so this INISA is quite a interesting organization. They do a lot of work, and for all your consultancy work related to GRC, now ISMS falls into this category of GRC. I think they are quite good, and they're doing a lot of work. So you know how European Union was formed, and under that there are so many organizations like United Nations. So this organization is called INISA, European Union Agency for Cybersecurity. And they have poured in millions of dollars or maybe pounds or euros at that time when this was started. Even right now, they are actually spending a lot of money, right? And why you have to understand this? Because if you are migrating or even you're finding remote opportunities, these are the places you'll find plenty, right? And INISA, they have several job opportunities every week. Only thing is you have to be ideally a citizen of European region, but still you might find a lot of other things as well. And as you can see, there are a lot of other activities happening through things like this advisory groups. You can apply for them, get your global experience in your portfolio. So all these things, INISA is quite a good place. And they do a lot of publications every week. So this is threat landscape on ransomware attacks, threat service security, likewise, and telecom security. So likewise, you have a lot of things there. And a lot of events happening. You guys can join in. So there's one happening. Some of them are free, some of them are not free, but most of the time, soon after the event, they publish the content in their YouTube channel or I think their own web pages. So yeah, you can have a look at them. So INISA cybersecurity, there seems to be an artist more popular than INISA videos, right? So of course there are 176 videos. That's a lot. If you go and check the playlist, you can find a lot of good content. So make sure that you guys go there and have a look at it. And of course, see, there's this network meeting. Not really sure whether, yeah, that's only for INISA member, but there are a lot of other events, meetings that you guys can join in. And now, say as an example, you can download this free of charge. And this contains a lot of good information. Sometimes you don't access to the sources. They are very expensive, but these guys are giving these things for free. So read it, understand things, understand what's happening. Understand now, they say there are 2.5 million jobs opportunities for cybersecurity. So you have to be good to apply for any of those. And recently, one of the states in US have given, I couldn't see, I can remember exactly what was the link, but they were paying billions of dollars, I think billions for cyber security in USA. Just see whether we can get that link. That was very recent. Okay, see, this is 25th of August. And okay, this one is a good article library. You should understand where the world is moving towards cybersecurity. So this is not me promoting cybersecurity because you understand, right? So you are in cybersecurity now, but this is to get more understanding about what's really happening around. So it's a good thing to even to get the PPT if we have. Okay, we don't have access to that. Not to worry. So this is proposed spending on US government on cybersecurity. So you see, everywhere they are spending. So these are the opportunities to become a consultant in Department of Commerce. So you can see a better growth here. Can you guys see it? Department of Agriculture, last year 239, and next year they are planning for these are $1 million, right? Millions of dollars. Yeah, $10 million upskill on that. And Department of Commerce and a lot more. And you can see Department of Homeland Security. So there's a lot. There's nothing actually going down. So it's good. Or maybe Department of Labor here, a little bit down, but still they're spending a lot of money. So you can see, yeah, $2.6 billion. That's somewhat close to what we spend in Sri Lanka per year, right? So, yeah, so in 2020, the total proposed agency cybersecurity funding for the year amounting $10.46 billion US. That is 2 times or 3 times the Sri Lankan economy. If I'm wrong, let me know, please. I just wanted to give it as just figures. Yeah, so just read those articles. So this will give the motivation to do a little bit more work. Right. Anyway, so let's jump in. So if you go here, there are several areas that you can just browse through and understand things, tools, news, events, and many other things, right? And of course, they have a lot of job opportunities every day, it seems. Only thing is these things, I think mostly they are taking European people. Initializing, but now this is something that you all can apply. So I'm working on this threat analysis thing today. Vulnerable responsible manager. Inisa is looking for recruit experienced cybersecurity professional. He or she will contribute to blah, blah, blah. The successful candidate also responsible for setting up EU-wide vulnerability database program. So we have talked about these NVD CVs, right? As I can remember. Job holder will mainly contribute to sector operations. The place of employment is Brussels, Belgium. Okay. Seems like there's no mentioning about any restriction, but just see if it is possible, just apply. Even though you are not ready yet, just apply. So don't listen to anyone else, you just apply. Agency, 4 years, 9 months, the job. So read this criteria and see whether you are ready yet. Can you do cyber threat intelligence? So today's exercise also on that. And contribute to engage existing cooperation, Cyclone, CSERTs, ECERT-EU, CERT-EU, Europol, and of course, there's the other side of Interpol, and core values. Oh, this is the thing, right? So maybe this is the problem that, selection procedure is open candidates who satisfy the following. Be a national, one of the member state of European Union, be entitled to his or full rights as citizen. Okay, this is the problem for TINISA, but you know that there are so many other job options like this. But anyway, read this criteria very carefully. But once you go there as on different visas, so these are the better opportunities, and they are paying millions per month. If you look at the Sri Lankan currency raised, right? Anyway, so it's quite a good thing. So this is something very interesting. So these are some of the areas that you guys can work at executive level, right? If you don't have or don't need to be very technical. I'm not saying technicality is not needed, but you understand what I'm saying. It's an executive position. So have a look at those things, right? That's enough. So what you're having here is the online teaching and, training materials. These are really expensive workshops. These are like around $6,000, $7,000 if you're going and participating. But the good thing is these training materials, they are giving for free after the events most of the time. So, but if you're going for such an event, it will cost you like $6,000. That is almost like 2 million, 3 million these days, right? So, so if you go there, there are training courses and train the trainer programs. So all these things are there for free of charge. You guys can download all these things, build up your repository, right? I don't know how many of you build your repositories. I ask you to build a good repository and share with others. So what I would do is you can use Notion, or you can use something like Obsidian here and build a repository. Right? So as an example, let's build a small quick one. So this is my cyber repo. So then you can have sections. So you can do it in any way you like, but ideally something like Obsidian is quite good. So we can say links or maybe the areas and links. So make sure that you build one. I'll show you a few links like this or areas like this. So you can be, I mean, like you can build it on top of it. As an example, let me show you this one. Yeah, so this is something that we use as pen testers. I don't know how many of you being into pen testing. Let me get this guy. So this is what I'm saying. So you can build your own one, or you can copy. Oh my goodness. SLRD doesn't allow me to go here. Maybe because the hack term is there. That is very stupid. Anyway, I think whatever the loaded one is here, right? So this is, I'm not going to refresh this, but this is what I mean by that. So you have everything here in this book or this particular site. So you can see pen testing methodologies, everything, even links and everything. So you have to build your own book, right? So it can be a Git book, or it can be a Notion template, or it can Obsidian. So build one, right? So that's my point. So later on, I'll show you my one. So as an example here, you have a very nice coding system. So when you're doing things in the openly in the industry, so you have a kind of a good set of resources to use whenever you need, right? Okay, anyway, so I need to ask this admins to remove these things, because we can't teach cybersecurity if we have access, if don't have access to this. Unfortunately, my VPN also got expired, so I can't connect right now. Anyway, so let's move in. So likewise, there are a lot of good resources. Please download all of them and build up your repository. But make sure whenever you use them, make sure to refer to the original source. Right. So that's said enough about it. So this has multiple interesting workshops. So as consultants, you can do these workshops, but make sure that you build your own content as well. So I was planning, like I was planning last year, but this year I might do to give this blue team experience for organizations, some of the selected organizations, because they know they'll understand what's really going on. Otherwise, by going just to a webinar, it will not, be fruitful. So make sure you first go through some of this content, but for your course purpose, going through all this is important, right? So first one is incident handling on a critical information infrastructure, CII. You know what is CII. In Sri Lanka, this is not a properly evaluated case, because to some extent, yes, even now electric grid is hackable. And even maybe other grids, water grid or any other, they use resources like they use a lot of IT, but there's no proper structure. So this particular project is on that, but to get a very experience, like a hands-on experience, because they are providing this virtual machine. I know that you tried it, probably failed downloading it because it's a very slow bandwidth link, but I'll provide it to you, don't worry. And then onwards, persistent threats and how to write an advisory and cost of ICT incidents. All these things are listed down, very, I say, hands-on. So we'll come to this. All right, so let me close these unnecessary ones. Right, so right now, what I'm going to do is, before I move into these workshops, I will show you TryHackMe. So can someone please tell me, or can all of you tell me, how many of you have experience with TryHackMe and these environments? I'm like, when I'm starting cybersecurity in 2002, maybe some of you are born, there was not much resources. We had to do it by our own, find a book, read it, and then wait until the internet was given. Then, of course, to do things, fun things, right? Yeah, so it was a bit difficult. But these days, if somebody complains, I don't know what to do in cybersecurity or any other matter, DevOps or whatever technology, or even anything else, I mean, you are the one to be blamed, right? So learning cybersecurity these days is quite easy because of this amusing resources available in the internet, and most of them are free. So can you tell me, just a quick poll, how many of you are aware about this hack the boxes or CTF boxes? You call them and different different names. How many of you are aware about it? How many of you work with TryHackMe? I've been telling from 2000 students 2012 onwards. With those days, we haven't had TryHackMe or Hack the Box. What we had was Vulnerability Hub, and we had over the wire Bandit and things like that. It was there even those days. In my teaching, I always push the students to try this out. So this is the earlier Vulnerable Hub version, which was wonderful. So we had the hackable Windows, hackable VMs. We download and did it, and CTFs are also like very popular. Yeah. So and also we have something like War Games. It was there for a very long time. So I think for students who have done ANS last sem, I have asked you to do that, but don't wait until even the new students. Just go ahead and do these things. This will change your lives forever. But anyway, so I have probably done this talk, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. So then there are so many other places, Vulnerable Hub, Over the Wire, and then we have Hack the Box. And of course, I told about web hacking, about HackerOne, Bugcrowd. And of course, now we have several more like CyberSec Cool, CyberSec Labs. And of course, there's something called RootMe and plenty more, right? Proving grounds from offensive security. Right? So whenever it's possible, you don't have to do everything, but whatever you can start with something and go ahead. These are all massively entertaining and like very formally proposed things, right? Okay, yeah, perfect. Right, so try these things. So there are plenty, and learning is quite easy. And you need to have this level of knowledge if you want to apply for these opportunities. Don't ever think of applying for a good opportunity if you don't know. I'm not saying to go and do TryHackMe every time, but that knowledge is needed, right? And also, like, this is having gamification. Last few weeks, I've been preaching this to others, but I was not doing because I haven't had the time. But I thought, okay, why not? What the hell? I'm also going to do it. And I was in somewhere around in 130 millions or over 1 million. Between doing few activities, I came up to 200,000. So now we see every day how I'm going to do. I'm going to be the top ranking someone very soon. So that's my aim here. I think you guys can, once you logged in, if you have a paid version, that's much better. What the hell? Pay that amount, £9. It's like 3,000 rupees. Don't say you don't have money. If you don't have money, I'm like, go and earn it. What the hell again, right? So if you, I'm like, paying for TryHackMe or Hack the Box is not going to make you poor, right? So I'm like, do that. So I'm not going to talk too much about it. And if you wanted to go, I think, where's your rank? If you go to the dashboard, you'll have the rank. But of course, there are other things. So you can get the ranks, like who is number 1, number 2, likewise also you can get, and who is number 1 in Sri Lanka. All these things you can get. But anyway, it seems like a lot of you have not tried out TryHackMe. It seems. Yeah, guys, can you give me an idea like how many of you have done TryHackMe? Yeah, so no one is saying anything. Yep, anyone? Can I make a quick poll just to double check how many of you have used TryHackMe at least once? Let me do a quick poll. I used. So earlier it was Hack the Box, but TryHackMe was much more user friendly. Right, so I have made a quick poll. You know how to put your vote in it. So please do that. Unfortunately, we have only half of the class, 30 students. But anyway, thank you for guys. Thank you all to connecting in. Yeah, guys, can you please quickly vote on it in WhatsApp, right? In WhatsApp. There's only one guy. Others also. Okay. Some people have tried out 4 and 2. Quickly, guys. And please involve with this. Okay, Amal, thanks. So you're using Hack the Box. And you're pretty neat. Okay, it's for the both sides. Anyway, thanks. Others, like, just fill it in. So please spend the amount, $8, 8 pounds. I highly recommend it. And even later on, Hack the Box. Okay. And once you go here, there are different pathways. Now there's this new one called red teaming. Today we are going to start with that. And why this is good, they have actually giving out some perks as well, meaning tickets for getting few fun stuff, right? And then of course, I would recommend you to go to Introduction of Cybersecurity and Junior Penetration Tester, because most of you covered software security and ANS. And Complete Beginner, if you don't know nothing, our SEM1 students. It's like if you've never done it, guys, this is like the most fun thing that you can do, right? I mean, you'll be amazed how quickly you can learn because it's gamified. You really want to do a few things. Like as an example, Linux fundamentals. If you never touched a Linux box, you'll understand the basics, network exploitations. This is learning like a game, like, I mean, it's really fun. Web hacking fundamentals, crypto. I'm going to create some YouTube videos on this in both languages, and I'm going to share this. If you're interested, you can watch it. But anyway, there are thousands of other videos. I always follow these guys called John Hammond. Those guys are great, right? So anyway, the best hacker or out of all is Live Overflow. But I don't know whether most will be understanding what he's talking about. He's very technical. So Live Overflow is one guy. So make sure that you add them to your. So I have all subscriptions, as you can see, and libraries as well. So Live Overflow is one. And of course, then we have IPSec. IPSec is superb, but you need to know a bit of things to work with IPSec. When it comes to reverse engineering, other things. These are not GRC guys, especially. These are very technical people, but they're talking about GRC aspects as well. They talk about red teaming and everything. You can see they're doing all those hack the box and try hack me videos. And of course, John Hammond is really good. He's, I think, very balanced. If you really want to start with any of those, start with John Hammond. I have my own videos as well, but these guys are more fun to watch and they are more knowledgeable. Of course, miles ahead of me. Yes, yeah, my one is there. Okay, and of course, the Cyber Mentor is another one. Cyber Mentor is not the best hacker there around, but he's very convenient. I mean, like, yeah, so he's very convenient and he teaches slowly. But he's not the, I would say, the best hacker out there. The other people that I mentioned, they are really hackers. These guys might not be. But then, of course, there's David Bumble. Maybe these are same things that I'm repeating again, but yeah, these are needed things, so it's okay. I don't think I'm wasting time. David Bumble, and there are a few other guys. And of course, NahamSec, he's having his own conference, like DEF CON. Okay, not NahamSec, it should be NahamSec. Right, and there are plenty of other good guys. So if you find a good YouTuber, please share them. And actually, he has started a nice series recently on smart contracts. I've talked about 2 smart contracts. This is good research stuff, guys, if you want to do things. Anyway, let's move in. So fun thing about TryHackMe is that they're having these things called rooms. So let me go to the first one. And I'm going to do this with you guys. And you can also do, it's a free course. I have already done the first one, but I'll do it again. So I can actually reset the progress and I'm going to do it afresh again. And you can also help me. And you can also do this with me. It's a free course, just register and you can freely do it. Right. And this knowledge is very essential about who is a red teamer, who is a blue teamer, and who is a purple teamer. And there are white hackers, white hat hackers, and so many other. Black hat hackers are the criminals, and all these things. All these guys have to get together. So let's start with this. And the way how it works is, if you really need to work with a machine, in the free version, you have to log in through OpenVPN. I'll show you when it is needed. Otherwise, you can just open your machine. They're giving you the machine. That's the most cool thing. Now, in the Enisa one, I have asked you to download the VM. A lot of work there. I have to download the virtual image from here and do the things. It takes a lot of time. But now in TryHackMe, you can just start your machine. Like as an example, let me take you to a Windows exploitation machine or room. These are called rooms. First, I'll load this one. And I can join the room, but because I'm having a premium account, it's always free. And now you can see, you have to do a few things. You have to learn a few things. So ideally, if you don't have Windows 8 machine, you can't do it now. So, but here what you have to do is just click start the tag box. It will automatically load it to the next side or the other side. So it's learning is quite easier. So they have provided everything. So somebody is complaining that I can't teach it. He says an idiot, simply an idiot. he or she, right? So that's what I told all my students. So learn it in the smart way, right? Okay, let's start. Any questions? Any questions? So use them carefully, smart, and I mean, like, just get addicted to these things. Nothing would come out of it. I mean, no harm would come out of it. Just get addicted. Right. Okay, so now we learn about these fundamentals. This is very important. We are talking about a lot here, and let's see how it's going to be important. Right. So cybersecurity is a constant race between white hat and the black hat hackers. So white hats are the, you have probably heard about this CEH certificate called white hat certification. So certified ethical hackers are the first to come up with these concepts. Yeah, but now it's a little bit different. We have a lot more other variations like red hat hackers, blue hat hackers, I don't know, gray hat hackers, purple hat hackers. Later on, there can be luminous colored hat hackers as well. But earlier it was always white hat hackers and the black hat hackers. So black hats are the ones who are criminals. White hats are the ones who really try to, prevent black hat hackers hacking our content. So white is, I know a lot of people, white is the good color, black is a bad color, but I don't believe in it. But anyway, we don't want to critique on that, but the idea is that. And then, of course, why then red, why then blue, why then gray, purple? So we'll come to that. So as consultants, you need to understand those stuff as well, because this is how the world works. So we can't break the rules all the time. So to understand what is the base, the fundamentals that everybody uses, and act accordingly. Okay, so we learn all these principles, don't worry. To moving from threat modeling to blue teamers, why blue teamers not involved in penetration testing, and who does the penetration testing, and what the blue teamers should do, and then how do you run a SOC, how do you run a CERT operation. There's a lot of things to learn. Now we have started the ISO 27000. Now we know the basics. That's a, I mean, like, it's a huge subject, but now we are going to get down into a nitty-gritty details, right? So the problem is, if you now say, I have seen consultants, ISO consultants, right? 27,000 consultants who have never even worked with a router. But still, I do believe, yes, you can still be a consultant without even ever touching a router, right? There's no problem. But I would say, when you know how to do a router, how to work with a router, you know how to exploit the Linux box using a buffer overflow or a Stack Overflow, you are a better consultant. So we can have that argument going later on, because when you see something, you understand things, right? You understand things from ground up, and that's the true color of a good consultant. So initially we now talked about, okay, who's a consultant, who's this bugger, and what he should do. Yeah. So generally, if you have read enough, if you are having experience enough, you can be a great consultant. No problem in that. But if you are experiencing multiple technologies, or you know how to do things, that's much better, much better. Now, there was this nice story which I've heard long time back. There can be few people who don't understand Sinhala, but really sorry for them. Sorry for you guys. I can tell you in English, but the story doesn't sounds right. එතකොට මේ ඉස්සර දීග දෙද්දි එනවා දීග ගන්න එන පිරිමියා ගෙදරට. එතකොට සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඉස්සර ගම්වල මේ ආවට පස්සේ මුලින්ම ගෑනු ළමයාත් එක්ක කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ, මේ අම්මා තාත්තත් එක්ක තමයි කතා කරන්නේ. එතකොට දෙන පොඩි තියනවලු පොඩි මේ ටෙස්ට් එකක්. එහෙම ගොඩක් තිබිලා තියෙනවා මම මේක එකක් ගැන. You might be more knowledgeable about these things, then share more. And these are the things that you can align with consultancy. So this person who comes to get married or propose to a lady in a village, the first thing is that you don't go and talk to the lady like today. I mean, like, culture is different, so all these things are different. And you go and talk to either the father or a more, I would say, senior person. So ඊට පස්සේ මොකද වෙන්නේ? ආවට පස්සේ ඉඳ ගන්න කියනවා, තේ එකක් දෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ මොකද කරන්නේ? දැන් මේක අපි තුන් මේ කතාවේ වෙන්නේ මේ ලස්සන ගෑනු ළමෙක් ඉන්නේ යට මේ පිරිමියෙක් හොයනවා, නැත්තම් බඳින්න හස්බන්ඩ් කෙනෙක් හොයනවා. එතන එනවා එක එක ජාතියේ මිනිස්සු. දැන් මේගොල්ලන්ට හොයාගන්න හොඳම කෙනා. ඉතින් තාත්තා කියනවා අර මෙහෙමයි හොයන්නේ. මම පොඩි ටෙස්ට් එකක් දෙනවා. ආපු දෙන් ඉඳගත්තු දෙන් තේ එකක් බීපු දෙන් ඊට පස්සේ කියනවා පුතා මේ අපේ මේ ගෙදර පල්ලෙහා වත්තේ තියෙනවා මේ අපි තුම හබරල පැලයක් උදුරලා පොඩ්ඩක් සුද්ධ කරලා දෙන්න කියලා කියනවා. එතකොට ගොඩක් කට්ටිය කරන්නේ දැන් ඔක්කොම ටෙස්ට් එක. So කන්සල්ටන්ට් කෙනෙක් වගේ දැන් අපි කියලා ප්‍රශ්නයක් කියන. එතකොට කන්සල්ටන්ට් can go and quickly do things නේ. ඒ වගේ තමයි මෙතනත් වෙන්නේ. දැන් මෙතන මේ එන මනමාලය වෙන්න ඉන්න කෙනා කියන තාත්තේ දෙන්න පීය මං කපලා අයින් කරන්නම් කියලා. ඉතින් ඔහම බලහම ගොඩක් එන කට්ටිය අබ්‍රල් පැලේ උගුල්ලලා එතන පොඩ්ඩක් සුද්ධ කරන්න කිව්ව ගම ඉල්ලන්නේ පීය. නැත්තම් දෙන්න මට මම කඩලා දෙන්නම් කියලා පීයත් අරගෙන ගිහිල්ලත් ඉවරයි මේ ලින්ද ගාවට. ඒ අතර එකම පුද්ගලයෙක් එනවා. එයා මුලින්ම කියන්නේ අපි කපමු. ඊට පස්සේ මුලින්ම එයා අර බුලත් විතර කාලා හැමින් සැරේ ෂර්ට් එක ගලවලා තියලා සරම හරියට ඒ අර අමුඩ ගහන විදිහට ගහගෙන පීය ඉල්ලගෙන පීය හොඳට පිහ දාලා ඊට පස්සේ පීය මෝහත් කරනවා. ඊට පස්සේ බුලත් විතර කාලා ඒ වැඩ ඉවර කළා. අන්න ඒ වගේ step by step අර ලංකාවේ කරන ක්‍රමයක් තියෙනවනේ. විදියක් තියෙනවනේ. ඒක අර there's a way and a standard and base practice before you do anything in the අපි කියන්නේ මොකද්ද වත්තට යන්න කලින් කරන දේවල් ටිකක් තියෙනවා. සමහර සිරිත් තියෙනවා. කොළ මේ ගහක් කපන්න කලින් කරන දේවල් තියෙනවා. සත්තු ඉන්න පුළුවන්, සත්තු මැරෙන්න පුළුවන්. So there's a practice. Right? So if you are doing it for some time only you'll understand what should happen next. අර ජීවිතේට පැලයක් එක්ක නැත්නම් මේ ගොවිතැනක් කරපු නොකරපු මිනිස්සෙක් ගහක් කපන්න දුන්නාම කපන විදිහයි when you are doing it for a long time when you're being asked to do the same thing is very very different. Even I think most of us also if I asked to do something like that because we are not in that practice we'll not do it right. We'll never get the lady to get married. Right? ඒක තමයි ප්‍රශ්නේ. ඒතකොට I think you got the idea. Similarly, as a consultant, you can become quite a good person or a good consultant if you know the practice. And that is where these things are very valuable. So learn all these things as much possible, but it doesn't mean that you have to cover everything. More the merrier, more the better. Right? So that's my logic here. Yeah, but that's the first lesson for today, right? And two other pointers were given out, but this is the most important lesson. So be knowledgeable about things. Not to buy heart, but in practice. Practice things. So I know a good guy who is earning millions on consultancy, but he's also trying out this TriHack. May I ask why? It's really good because now I can go there and I can do my job better. So see, I'm not saying this is one of the $1 million consultancies saying that. Okay, let's move in. So with conventional security engagements like vulnerability assessments, very famous, and pen tests to provide an excellent overview of a technical security posture. Yeah, so that's what we are doing. I don't know how many of you are doing it as a day job, but these days most of the organization, even ISO 27000 recommends us to do testing, audits, right? Audits, tests, these sort of engagements. So what we can do is these sort of engagements shows us how vulnerable we are, how good we are, and how strong we are in terms of cybersecurity. And this is good for other measures also, financial security. Like, you know, your health security. I've been talking about this for a long time. Say about financial security also. Mahabank in a Porvaltica, they have done enough audits. They would have identified and they had pushed it. I don't know what these buggers have done. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been saying this for a long time. Yeah, but they have not done the audit. So they can learn a little bit from TriHackMe. So I think starting from ඒ මනුස්සයන හොඳයි ටිකක්. හැබැයි I don't know yet. But මහා බැංකුව අධිපතිතුමා කට්ටියට මේ red team fundamentals ටික ගන්නවා නම් TriHackMe එකේ I think our country would be much better. Anyway, so room objectives, learn about basics of red team engagement, identify main components of stakeholder engagement, and then understand the main difference between red teaming and other engagements. So they're very different. Blue team engagement, where you do SOCs and threat modeling to other things, are different from red teamers. So let's try to understand. Right. Before engaging, familiarity with general hacking techniques is good. So if you can do this junior pen tester learning path is recommended. So I also recommend to all of you to go through this. If you go to learn section, you can go and see this junior penetration tester, and it has so many rooms. Some of them are free, some of them are not free. And so better do it. Say pen testing, web hacking. So some of the rooms are shared in multiple pathways, but it's okay. If you have access, please do it. And I would say spend that £8. So this is fine. So now this is the gamification part comes in. So yeah, I've done that. It's fun, right? So you say whoop whoop, your answer is correct. So yeah, that's really cool. Right. So then let's move into the details. Okay, what is a vulnerability assessment and what is the penetration test? Is the same thing or two different things? Let's see. So I'm not going to go through each bit. This is not the point, but rather I'm using this content to teach you some with important highlights. This is the simplest form of security assessment. This is the simplest one. So if you do a proper penetration testing or exploit development or exploit audit, is very different. So there are different criteria used in the industry. In Sri Lanka, we only do vulnerability assessments. අප ඉන්න companies කීපයක්ම කරන they just run the Nessus and the Nmap and the few other tools and they just give the report. It's stupid, right? I know even doing that is good. Sometimes they bill it for hours. I mean, they run it for 4-5 hours or maybe a few days. Some of you might have experience. That's what happening a few years back. Now I think everybody had learned these concepts. They can do better jobs, but this is what's being happening, which is really stupid. So we have to be on par with the other countries, what they're doing. These are very serious things, guys. If you don't know how to do that, create a vulnerability checklist and start doing it. You can now practice with all these boxes. Okay, come back. So, and it's basically to identify vulnerabilities. So the first fact is understanding vulnerabilities. So now can someone tell me where I can find a list of vulnerabilities which are common these days? Where can you find those vulnerability lists? Can someone?
Database.
Yes. So we go to cve.mitre.org. Okay, so this is again a US government project. So you can have, you can search for CVEs here and you can get a list of CVEs from here as well, right? So CVE stands for Common Vulnerability Exposures, right? So basically the idea is that people try to understand what are the vulnerabilities that we know and they have a list of it. So when you want to secure ourselves, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel or do magic. You have already a list of things that is already vulnerable. So go and first check that. And don't be a genius, just act with the crowd, right? So there are a lot of CVs listed down. A lot of people are working on these things. So make sure that you have covered your CVs, right? So as an example, I can search for 2022 CVs. Let's submit my command here, keyword here. Now there are 24,053 CVs for 2022. That's a lot, right? Per year. Now, how many CVs? That does mean, so we'll go to one or two. Now, how it works is you have CVE prefix, then the year, the middle, and then the number. So we'll select a lucky number. I was born in 30th, most the luckiest number in the world. So let me select that one. So I was born in 30th of June, right? So my mom says later on that I was not born in 13 because no one likes the 13th number, but I really love it. Anyway, so let's move into 13th, one of the 13th. So there are 1,800 with 13 as the postfix. Let's go and check what is this vulnerability. It's a reserved one, disclaimer, FXCV, okay, there's nothing much there. But we can learn more about it in the NVD. So now some of the people always have this confusion. You have all the details about the CVE in cve.mitre. No, CVE is just the index. If you want to get more information, you have to obviously go to the NVD. Both are US government projects. So let's look at this guy. Okay, now we have information on this. We'll start reading. This is not, again, rocket science. Vulnerability allows remote attackers to execute arbitrary code where affected installation of Nikon NIS Elements Viewer. Now, why this 20,000 number? Because, guys, there are so many software in the world. And so much of those softwares we install in our products. Nikon camera. So, but still, you know, cameras can get attacked. Cameras, drones attack. Chip attack. That's not a big deal. Okay. So this is a 0-day initiative as well. So we'll talk about these things later. So now this is having just a bit of information. But if you get more information, you have to move out from cv.mitre to NVD, National Vulnerability Database. This is a product of NIST. So now get used to these organizations. Another great organization like INISA, a lot of free content, a lot of good content. I shouldn't say the term free content, but people don't like to spend money, Yeah, but there are so many things here. This is the best standard institute other than ISO. Right? So I'm into ISO, that's why I started ISO 27000. So you can get more details here. It also says Nikon, NIS elements, something blah blah blah, and about these images issues. And there's a score as well. 7.8 is a high score. According to CVSS version. So we come to what is this CVSS then. We have learned only about something called CVE, but there's another one called CVSS, which is a score, right? So this is score. So CV is just an identification index, and CVSS is the score. That's a standard way of defining a value. As an example, how good you are out of 10. Your girlfriend, your wife would say, you are good 2 out of 10. Okay, that's a fight starts, right? So, or you can give your own definition. I'm 10 out of 10. But the F about others, I don't fucking care about anyone else. This is my definition. I'm 10 out of 10. That's not ego, but be that. That's easier. But anyway, CVSS, there should be a score. This is done by organizations, and they have given 7.8 for this one, meaning like easily this can be hacked. So if you need to get the CVSS information, go and search. Google is your friend. If you don't like Google, use DuckDuckGo or something, right? Okay, so this is from another organization. It's called FIRST.org. Yeah, so don't get bogged down with all these organizations, but yeah. Now here onwards, you need to know about these things. This common vulnerability scoring system, special interest group. And in FIRST, they have so many other groups, but this is one. There's a new scoring system now. We'll learn about it later. So right now, what you have to understand is, okay, this particular Nikon vulnerability is quite a bad one, right? Okay, that's one. And let's go and look at another one. Let me close down the unnecessary ones. Let's go and but this one, make sure that you go and have a look at it later. So for the moment, I'm going to close that as well. And I'm going to get another one. Let me search for another 13, the most luckiest number in the world. This seems to be another one again this year. Now, remember, we have another 3 more months to go, right? But is this one, okay, again, I don't like Nikon anymore. Let me drill down. These are reserved ones. It will get filled later on. So I don't want. Let me go with something like 45. Yeah, this one will be okay. So this is not Nikon, right? This is on something called ANSYS Space Claim Entity that we love, like Microsoft. Let's see. Okay. Now this is something I think pretty bad. Yes. So this is Microsoft Edge Chromium-based remote code execution vulnerability. Oh, RC. That's fun. That's fun for a lot of red teamers. You can attack even my Chromebook, I don't know, or Chrome machine, or Chrome, 7.7, little bit less than the Nikon one, but still it's a problem, right? And you can go to the Microsoft site and they have their own information about that vulnerability. And also they probably have a patch for it. So this is Microsoft site, and they say, okay, they have a problem, Edge, Chromium-based Edge. So they use the V8 engine. And then, of course, there are attack vector, complexity, and they should have a patch as well. And if you go back here, you can see there is available patch. Sometimes there are situations you don't have a patch. Then, guys, you are done. You are doomed. So you can see the product and everything is here. I think I hope now you got a very base idea about what are those CVs, right? But remember, you don't have a lot of information in the CV database. Right, so that's enough. Any questions up to this point? All good? All good, guys? Yeah. So if there's anyone who's doing this in every day, I'm like daily basis, please feel free. Don't think I'm going to be upset of anything, because I know a lot of you have much more knowledge than myself about some of these things. So just jump in and help others. That's what matters. If you've been doing some work on this, if you have submitted a CV, and if you have a CV under your name, please feel free to discuss it. I'm happily, will give out the time and the opportunity for you to teach others. Yes. So thank you, Sangika. I think you have shared a course in LinkedIn Learning. So let me bring it up. Yeah, so that's what I think everyone should do.
We all love fixing problems, but you can't fix a problem you don't know about. Vulnerabilities exist in every system, and there's not always an obvious fix.
I click the
Taking
link.
a structured approach to vulnerability management is the best way to protect your systems, resources, and finances from the risks vulnerabilities pose. Using lessons from my career in cybersecurity, I'll explain the basics of.
Okay, done. So this is the course. I think it's freely accessible. Anyway, I have paid for my LinkedIn Learning, so I can see it. So go through it, and I think you can get a certificate as well. So this is the CBSS algorithm. So there's an algorithm as well. So we discuss about it later on. Yeah, so please watch these things. Yeah, so this is a rating, as you can see, high and the critical. And so there's a metrics for that. And that's the calculation done. So it's quite fun, right? And there are a lot of research work done in this area and yeah, plenty more. Right. So now we talked about CVEs. Let me close this one. Yeah, we are here now. Right. So now let's move on to this. End concessions may be made to meet this goal effectively. For example, attacker's machine may be love listed on the available security solutions. Okay, so that's what we do in the vulnerability assessment. To summarize, the vulnerability assessment is focused on scanning hosts for vulnerabilities as individual entities so that security deficiencies can be identified. The whole objective is get this vulnerability list. So there are tools like Nessus. Probably all of you have ever sometimes probably have used the tool called Nessus, a great tool from Tenable. Tenable has a different scoring system than CVSS. If you go there, Tenable vulnerability scoring system. That's a new one, newer than the CVSS, but also different one. It's called Common Vulnerability Scoring System. Yeah. So you can have a look at that as well. So this is called the VPR. So there's some differences between the CVSS and the VPR. So maybe in your day job, you're using maybe one of those. So yeah, so please watch or read this documentation. Okay, so this is Nessus, and Nessus you have a free version which you can use or try, to be very honest, and then there's this professional version. But when you go and load your Kali box, you'll have a Nessus installed. Only catch is sometimes the database is not get updated. So that is the catch here. So you might not be able to quickly scan and get a list of vulnerabilities in your own machine or your network or your phone or wherever. But remember, this is you can even build a model using Python like Nessus, but it's a lot of work. So why you should reinvent the wheel? Right. So let's move on. So an example, if you were on the vulnerability assessment over a network, you would normally try to scan as many hosts as possible. So as you can see in the image, you are the pen tester through the internet, or maybe you get access to the internal system, or you go it as like a hacker. Hackers doesn't have internal access, no. So you can become a pen tester without knowing what even the network. So you need to figure out what the network looks like, right? So when you want to attack a website, you can use a tool called Dirbuster, right? I hope that you have used it somehow. So Dirbuster can identify what are the directories available in the server. So those things are there. So what you're doing here is, as a pen tester, as you say, zero knowledge, without knowing what's beyond this point, the firewall, beyond that to the internal network, you do the attack and find out what are the compromised hosts scanned, and you can do that. So that is vulnerability assessment. And then we do penetration testing. So in this case, you just identify what are the vulnerabilities, that's all. You're not going to penetrate them, right? You know what it means penetrating. You're going to go and attack it. So that is the difference between mainly vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. So top scanning every single host in vulnerability. On top of that, we often need to understand how they impact. So you need to do exploitation. So we are going to do exploitation on the vulnerabilities which we found. And then, of course, you can do a review on the post-exploitation and see what had went wrong, or how this really attack really happened, right? So, and of course, you can mimic some of the behaviors and see how we can improve these things. So the whole point of doing such an audit is to improve ourselves, right? And this is where the blue teamers comes in. Blue teamers will have a look at whether they can bypass If they can bypass, blue teamers had not done a great work. So their point of view is always secure things, not to attack things. So in modern day organization, there's a red team as well as a blue team. Blue team say, okay, you buggers and go try to attack. We are trying to prevent it. So that is like two sides of the story. And so of course, pen testers should first understand the vulnerabilities and then go and do the attack. Okay, so this is such example. So 1.1 is compromised web server, and you can do SQL injection. And then what you can do is you can privilege it to the point where there can be issues with this Alice's PC, and then probably maybe attach something there, and then you can access the FTP server and you can keep it permanent if you want to. Right. So these are the ways of you can penetrating. So learn it well. This can be really handy for you, even though you are going for a GRC job. Of course, if you're going for a technical pen test, exploit development, or malware engineering or forensics job, these are mandatory for you guys. But even you think, okay, I'm not sure about these things, don't worry, we'll learn this, but it's step by step, right? Okay, then we are going into something called advanced persistent threats. What the hell is that? Right? What do you mean by that? Now remember, world has grown into a stage where it's really, I think the right nice way to put is people always look at Meta, right? Now, metaverse is there. Now Zuckerberg, some people are heavily complaining and critiquing Zuckerberg for going with Meta. But I do think that's how it works out. I you know, when you see things from a high level angle, you can judge what's going to happen next. Because pen testing is more of, let's try to understand this properly. Pen testing is more about understanding things from a very low level perspective. Right? That is where the consultants are a little bit different from a technical engineer. They can see things from a high level view. Right? So most of these Western movies are trying to teach the same thing now. Right? I'm not saying that is not there in other literature. No, it's there. Right? It's there in a different way, but we normally watch Netflix and this thing. No? Recently, I started watching Sandman. I hope you know Sandman, right? So unfortunately, I couldn't pay for my Netflix as well. I got really poor this month. But if you watch Sandman in Netflix, right? So see, I had to pay to the payment, right? So I have a nice hack of doing it. But Sandman, I was watching the latest episode. So Sandman is about I don't know how many of you know about Sandman or been watching any comics. The whole idea is this: there's this goat for dreams, right? And then there are other goats for other things like I don't know about your life, hell, and everything. So the point is, the way if you sorry that I can't run this. Maybe there's another issue. So if you've been watching it, any of those comics, why people love comics, even this dirty old people or really old people love watching comics, even than the kids, because it always try to give you a message in very simple format. So try to get what I'm trying to say here. So Sandman always say the world order, how it works. Now, okay, just give me a sec. There's a student calling. Yeah, sorry about it. Give me a sec. Yeah. It's about the dreams. Yes. So, so he says they have a fight between the Hellmaster and the Sandman. So they were doing a fight, and end of the day, they tries to say things can go bad, but hope can always win. So that's what the Western world is always saying. No? Hope is the one that always drives us, even though everything else fails. That's this hope with everyone, even though your family in the COVID time, most of your loved family members died, but you have a hope. Now, even for Prince Charles, now there's hope, right? When that old lady died, right? So yeah, so that's how the world goes on. So my point here again, right? So not about Sandman. When you see the world in a kind of the order, that you see, you can get things done pretty easily. So that's the whole point about this advanced persistent threats. Right? So that's a technical definition for it, but try to understand my point here. Sometimes technical definitions would not simply solve your problems. That's why even there are the subjects called threat modeling, risk modeling, where we do it at a very high level with CEOs, CXOs, CISOs. This is where you also, if you want to go far in cybersecurity, don't just get yourself cornered. This is, I was saying the other way around from the morning onwards. Consultants want to come and technical level. Now I'm saying the other way around. You can do technical things forever, but if you don't understand the language of the higher order, right? The gods or CEOs or whoever the fuck, right? So you have to understand that type of understanding also. So that is where you talk about these concepts like threat modeling and a few other areas. Give me a second. Another student calling. Niroshan, me mama tama lecture එකේ ඉන්නකොට මම ඉවරෙච්චම ගන්න මට. හරි. Yeah. So that's what being done in APT. So let's go to APTs. So yeah. So we'll type in advanced persistent threats. That's much easier. Otherwise, there'll be a lot of other things coming. So of course, if you go to MITRE framework, my machine is getting slower. MITRE framework, all these things are there. I ask you to watch my video. I have already uploaded it. Hope you guys have watched it. Otherwise, nothing to worry. Let's go to MITRE. Right? Yeah. So now if I go here, attack.mitre. So this is something that crazily important these days. You have a lot of things. So now if you click one of those, right? So there are a few things you have to understand when you're dealing with MITRE. So there's things called techniques, right? Tactics, and plenty more. If you watch my video, you would have already knowing what I'm talking about. But let's go and select one, right? And then say this can be a kind of a vulnerability or a threat, right? And you have a lot of details about it. So anyway, I'm going to give you a very high level view on this later on. But currently, what I really want you to look at is really these things called tactics and techniques. And that is where this APTs also comes in. So let's go and drill down this thing APT called APT. It was 49. Is it? Yeah, let's go to APT 49. Yeah, we don't know to go. We don't need to go to MITRE all the time. Okay, so now there are these attacks happening which are really organized these days. Right? So you might think these are like here and there random. No, there are crime groups. If you ever watch, I'm not watching a lot on Netflix, but guys, if you ever watch this, what was that TV series, the Professor series, where there's this they're trying to hack a bank and all that. So they are this team, sort of big team behind that. Similarly, there are crime members, crime groups behind some of those threat actors. They know the set of vulnerabilities. They have selected set of vulnerabilities. Now they are targeting those vulnerabilities all over the world using these set of threats. So they have, I mean, the researchers in MITRE and many places have identified those threat groups, and they have put it into a one nice group called APT group. And the one thing about this advanced persistent threat, they are persistent. They will happen today, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow, and it likewise it will keep continuing. So there's going to be never going to be ends. Of course, some of them can be like, no longer available. So this is like this dengue viral, that's a stream of virus. COVID, it's a stream of virus. HIV, stream of virus. It will be there forever, right? Polio idara Lankawe loken turang une. Take advanced persistent threat type, right? So yeah, I don't know, maybe God sending the virus, I don't know. So in your beliefs, you can decide it. And so these are the advanced persistent threats. So you can see APT 33 suspected attribution is for Iran. Again, Iran unfortunately, Lanka APT maybe you guys can do it, but don't tell me I ask you to do so. Right. So then it says targeted organizations spanning multiple. Samahara APTs energy sector. Samahara APTs blockchain. Samahara APTs Lanka politicians. No, I'm joking. There's nothing like that. Eh? Samhara APTs are billionaires. Yeah, that is true. And APT 41 is from China. Attribution. I think that's the other side of the story. Like research කරන කට්ටිය පොඩි fund එකක් ගන්නවා චීනෙත් එක්ක එහෙම ඒවත් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි most of them they had to prove. So as an example, APT 25 attribution to China. APT 24 China. And AK කියන මේක කියන්නේ තවක් නමක් තමයි Pity Tiger. Right? And uncooled. So now you guys have to know about when somebody Pity Tiger macham කොහොමද තත්ත්වය කියලා ඔත්තම you have to know what is that is APT 24. Right? So this is a group is known to have a targeted organization headquartered in countries including US and Taiwan. 24 has historically used raw archives to encrypt and compress stolen data prior to transferring out of the network. Data theft exfiltrated from this actor mainly focused documents. So this is fun stuff, right? It's like you being Sherlock Holmes, right? So once in my life, I was so much addicted to it. So I was studying it every day, like, but now I'm not doing it. I have so many other good things to do. So, but anyway, I'm so much valuing you guys are getting addicted to it. This is the first time second time I'm saying get addicted to these things. No harm would come out of it. And no harm would come out of it. Really, really, really valuable. So now let's list down most common or most famous APT groups. Now this is a very good one. Yeah. 9 infamous, not famous. 20 top 20 advanced persistent. The threat terms and yeah, and we can look at this one, and we can look at this one as well. Top 20 APTs. So this is one group, Lazarus group. So what I would do, so use OSINT, right? Open source information gathering, and I have shared a video on that as well. So this is you have to be like be good on multiple angles. So let's search for the Lazarus group. Sorry if I'm pronouncing them not right. So see, life inside North Korea's hacker army. See, this is what US is saying. Maybe true, maybe not. I don't know. But there's a lot to learn here, guys. See, this thing chasing Lazarus, a hunt for infamous hackers. Yeah, so that is Kaspersky. Most dangerous government hackers. So these are true stories, right? Not all build-up stories. So please go and look at these things. You'll be amazed of how much of things that you don't know, right? Anyone who have done any research on these areas, I mean, as your day job, I have one of my students who are in, I think, Wiley or Pearson. Their day job is to look at these things, and he said a lot of fun. Anyone here? Anyone? Not a single person working on APTs? I know you guys are working, but you are so, I don't know, maybe egoistic to say it, or like maybe you are so afraid to say things that you are learning. Maybe you have a NDA. Yes, you don't want to explain anything, but yeah, anyone here who is working on APTs? Oh my goodness, you're not going to talk. Anyway, so these are the famous ones. As you can see, so we get APT1 from the most earliest one. It's a Chinese group that has attributed to Second Bureau of People Liberation Army, General Staff Development. Actually, group descriptions, common crew, techniques. What techniques they use? Account discovery. This is where it connects with the MITRE. So you can go into and download the Viva as well. So I have added the video. Please watch it. I told you earlier as well, I'm not going to explain everything in my lectures, right? A lot of recorded, sorry, let's not do that. So a lot of recorded content will be there, right? And see automated collection and Windows command shell, data from local systems. If you don't understand what you mean by that, don't worry too much. So these are the techniques that they're using. And of course, they use some tactics as well. And also these are the software that they are targeting, like what, Glucksmere, like Posy1B, whatever, I don't know. And then few other things. So that is APT1. Let me go to APT29. I think you should know APT29. Why? 39 or 29? Anyone? And 29 also so famous. The group that has been attributed to Russia. They have operated since 2008. APT29 reportedly compromise of Democratic National Committee. 2021, US and UK government attributed SolarWinds supply chain compromise. You know, you all should learn about, understand whoever doing cybersecurity should learn about SolarWinds attacks, right? Cozy Bear and you can see associated groups. This is the Cozy Bear, guys. So you can search for Cozy Bear in YouTube again. You can find more information. So this is fun stuff, guys. If you don't like catching criminals, okay, forget about it. But yeah, okay. So criminal gangs or crime members. Yeah, so you guys can watch it, learn it. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much about it. And then, of course, techniques used, account discovery, domain accounts. And let's go to software and see a lot of techniques they are using. These are famous softwares are there: Cloud Duke, Boombox. What are the other ones? Yeah, so Mimikatz is a great tool that is also being hijacked. And so many other things. Right, then let's go to APT39. APT39 also is really famous. Why, you can tell me? It's a cyber espionage from Iranian, primarily targeted travel. Yeah. Okay. Can anyone remember what connected with WannaCry? What was the APT which connected with the WannaCry? You know what happened in WannaCry case, right? Okay, so this is against China. Yeah, so like I said, fortunate to unfortunate, there's nothing on our country, right? So let's move quickly. So this is the groups, equation groups, wizard, and a few groups. So you can do a lot of research in this area, more the merrier. And when you publish your content about these things, you can earn a lot of money as well. There's a huge industry on these things. 5 most common type of APTs. I hope you understand it. So these are the common attack vectors: phishing, social engineering. Phishing is you're getting an email, right, saying that Machan, click on this, you get $2, something like that. Social engineering is like somebody's watching you on YouTube, Twitter. You know, DNS modification is now you are going to go to a crowd from the DNS entry, and DNS are modified, so you are going somewhere else. Zero-day attacks, basically you don't have any clue. You get a software just quickly wiped out your hard disk in the first day, meaning that's in the installation date or the software release date, it's a basically attack. And supply chain attacks, okay, that's most of you, I think you understand. Any questions? Let me close these things down. Yeah, so might attack, it's something that you all have to understand, so please watch my video on that. I give you a very quick and dirty introduction there. Okay, so now that is where we come into this. So advanced persistent threat is getting that overall knowledge, like our Sandman, right? Like Morpheus. Morpheus is Sandman. So he have a overall knowledge how the world works, how the universe works. So because of that, he managed to even to fight with the king of hell and even to win, right? So the point is, get yourself adjusted to what's really happening in the world view, as he said. So as a consultant, you have the world view as well as the technical view. I think you got the idea. Anyone want to make any comments? The people are really, I would say, silent. Jalia, you want to make any comments? Okay, Shandi, are you there?
So no comments at the moment.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks. Shandi, any comments?
No, sir.
You should have a comment. Okay, anyway. So people who don't know, Shandi is working at SLIT. So they're in our staff, and there are 2 other ladies. I'm not going to call their names today, but I told Shandi that you want to be there in the lecture. Anyway, these guys are really busy, so I can't blame them. We have lectures, examinations every day, and labs, and so it's kind of hell a lot of work for our staff members here at SLIT. Mr. Nonis, anything? Any comments? Sanjeeva, are you there?
No, sir. At the moment, it's okay, I think.
Okay, perfect. Let's move on. Right. So, so this is what we do. So there are a lot of things to think about. So you will learn this, guys. So when you learn more on advanced persistent threats, so you have that worldview. Even something goes wrong, suddenly you will know, okay, this is something that was there earlier. What with දැනට වෙන attack එකක් ගත්තාම ලංකාවේ වුණත් ඒවා already වෙලා තියෙනවා. අලුත් මැටයක් එක ලංකාවට එනවා කියන එක හරිම එම වෙන්න අඩුයි. ඉඩකට තියෙන අඩුයි. Right? So hope you got the idea. So pen tests are very loud. Yeah. Non-technical attacks vectors might be overlooked. සමහර non-technical attacks තියෙනවා pen test එකට අඳුර ගන්න බැරි ඒවා. So as an example, phishing, social engineering, they never ever consider. Right. So relaxation of security mechanisms, because of that, some people don't worry too much about it. They have all the things in place, IDS, IPS, WAFs and everything, but they don't have any training or things like that to get our everyday people involved in understanding these things. On the other hand, real attackers won't follow ethical code, right? So they don't understand anything on ethics. Real attackers, right? Not script kiddies. Mostly unrestricted in their actions. Nowadays, the most prominent threats actors are APTs. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much. Let's have a little bit of fun now. Would vulnerability assessments prepare us to detail real attack on our network? You ne? Not yeah, but nay, right? Yeah, nay. Yeah, I'm correct. Let me. Okay. Stay with them. During a penetration test, are you concerned about detected by? What do you think? Yes, no, I mean, you are concerned, no? So you should not get caught, but it can be other way around also. So yeah, so I mean, like, because you are given the opportunity, no, so not really, yeah. Highly organized skilled attackers nowadays uses APTs. So that stands for advanced persistent threats. So once you do something, you are getting tested as well, which is quite cool, right? So I'm really having fun here, because what I do is, when I do things right, when I test, I go and test myself and see whether my rank has been improved, right? So earlier it was, I can't remember exactly. It's a bit fun, right? So yeah, so I'm now in the very near to go beyond the 200,000 level. So there are 1.3 million users in TryHackMe. Now I'm in the top 15, and I want to be the number 1 in Sri Lanka. So you know, our students also, our learning partners also do the same. Right? Okay, red team engagement. Okay, to keep up with the emerging threats, red team engagement design shift to the focus of regular penetration testing to process that allows us to clearly see our defensive team's capability. So you have to go beyond pen testing, guys. That's the whole point you have to understand here. That's why I'm taking this content into ISMS. In a penetration testing lecture, I would really not push the boundaries, but here you have to understand, because at one level, as a consultant, you need to really push the boundaries going beyond pen testing, right? So then only you'll understand what is right and what is wrong, because simply doing pen testing will not help you. And that is where this tactics, techniques, and procedures comes into play. So this is like very common things when it comes to cybersecurity: tactics, techniques, and procedures. So tactics are more like strategic things, techniques are everyday things, procedures are workflows. Right. So that's what is the hallmark for MITRE also. Every red team engagement start by defining clear goals, like in ISO 27000, often referred as crown jewels of flags. So you have to understand what you want to achieve, ranging from compromising given critical host to stealing some sensitive information. And if you ever played a pen test or CTF, you know the flags. If anyone is interested to learn about more detailed penetration testing, I'm starting a class today at 2, starting with the basics of how to use GDB and GDB debuggers and PEDA and PWN debugging, PWN tools, how to use Python and all this. But I'm going very slowly with hacking. If you have a free time, you guys can join in, not a problem. That's where we use the flags. Yes, go ahead. Who's this?
Yeah, I wanted to ask whether we could do a pen testing boot camp or something. So will you give the details of 2 o'clock class today?
Yeah, I will share it for you guys, not to worry. And I'll share all the videos anyway. But remember, this is nothing coming to the exams, right? So others don't have to worry. If you are a self-learner, interested, you can join. Otherwise, no, you don't really have to learn. But for me, what I would always say, just learn things, guys. Don't get restricted. Have your own plan. I know there's a lot of work for you guys. You have a lot of plans these days, so don't get bogged down or get stressed out from anything. Make sure you enjoy everything. Even right now, this teaching, I'm enjoying this. If not, I'm not going to spend a single second in my life hereafter. I learned it like few years back. I'm not going to do any work that I'm not enjoying. I really hate marking papers, I tell you. So I have a strategy for it now, right? So I'll be very honest here. So I hate paper marking, whatever reason. But I have a new method now. When I set papers, set in a way, I have these questions which is open-ended. So I like reading now the new things what students are saying. Even this week onwards, this semester onwards, I'm going to put a question saying, give your stress level, write about your stress level in the exam day. So that's a fun thing for me to read. I don't really care about what the students goes through, but I really want to read what he's going through there. So maybe I can learn a few lessons from him or her. So that's I'm trying to make it an enjoyable process. Because anyhow, as I like you to mark the papers, whether you like it or not. So that's what I'm asking you to do. If you don't like what I'm talking about here, make sure you like what I'm doing, or just forget about it and go something and do useful. Don't do cybersecurity. I think you understand my point. If you like, if you really enjoy, if you value, and if you feel good internally, do it better, and you can earn millions. Right. So let's move on. You don't need to go through every bit of it. Right. And then you can have the red teamer's job. So red teamer stays beyond the network, and you can go through all these routers, switches, firewalls, and try to compromise the machines. And this is, guys, what the blue teamer should do. I know there are a few people here who do work with SOCs, SIEMs, or other tools. Again, pretty interesting. I'm going to do a session for ISMS. Those days I was not doing, but now I'm going to do it. Because I think you want to have that overall knowledge, how to run Elastic Stack, how to write Splunk. So those things I will teach you. Right? Some of you probably know, but yeah, let's see. So now this is what the blue teamers do. They look at the logs and they try to analyze, these buggers are trying to hack us. Okay, let's catch them up. So it is important, the final objective, such exercises should never be for the red team to beat the blue team. Right? But rather simulate through TTPs for blue team to learn, react real ongoing. සමහරලාට මෙහෙම එකක් තියෙනවා. අපේ ලංකා කම්පැනිස් වල red team කරද්දි pen test කරගන්න බැරුණොත් ඒක ප්‍රශ්නයක් කියලා. I mean, there's nothing like that. Stupid, right? And you should work with the blue team. There were days even I was involved with, there was no blue team operation. They're just doing red teamers. There was no blue team involvement. But now it's more and more, there's a kind of a joint operation. Red teamers mimic, and then blue teamers look at it. So this is happening in, this is, I'm really interested in working with this, not cybercrime, but real crime. I've been a lover of watching Sherlock Holmes types of like crime sort of things. I've seen very recently a documentary, but this has been practiced in the real world as well. People try to do criminal activities, and the blue teamers who really the teams who try to protect, try to mimic these attackers and see where they can go wrong. So that's quite interesting. So it's being used in the real world as well when trying forensics or analysis of real criminal gangs, not into cybersecurity. Right. So this is red team engagement, also improve regular penetration test, technical infrastructure, social engineering, and other things. Depending on the resource available, the red team exercise can be run in several ways. Full engagement. So that is one. The assume breach. Start by assuming the attack has already gained control, or tabletop exercises. So if you don't have enough time, at least do a tabletop exercise. So whatever happens in this ENISA, all the guides provided for tabletop exercises, most of it, because you're not having a real world environment. It's not a real organization, it's a mimicked organization. So these are called tabletop exercises. Maybe you have done tabletop discussions for your marketing operations and other things. So this is something very similar. Okay, the goals of red team engagement will often be referred to as flags or crown jewel. So your whole idea is to identify these jewels. Have I written it right? Crown jewel, JEWEL. Oh, that's not wrong. Jewel. Let me copy it. Crown jewels, JE, no, not GE, JE. So this is the part I like, because you have to understand whether you have done it right or wrong. During red team engagement, common methods used by attackers are emulated against the target. Yes, such called TTP. TTP stands for tactics, techniques, and procedures. Please, guys, connect with TryHackMe and do these things. You don't have to wait until I'm going to do it. You can do it. The main objective for red team engagement, detect as many vulnerabilities. Yeah. Yes and no, both, but yeah, we go at yeah. It's wrong, so it's okay. The whole point is like not many, but get the crown jewels. So if I'm saying yes, so I'm going to be impact with the crown jewels. So identify the top ones. Okay. So that is task 3. Now go to task 4. Right. So this is a very important one. There are several factors involved in red team engagement. All right. Below is a brief table. Red cell is the component that takes up the offensive portion. If there's any coloring mechanism in TryHackMe, that'd be better. Anyway, okay, so you can see, but I can think you can draw when it comes to Zoom, right? What is it? Recognize. I'm not using these things. Okay, there's annotate feature. That's good. Yeah, can draw things. So this is very important. Offensive portion of the red team engagement. And the blue cell is the opposite side of red. It includes all components defending. So we talked about this. When the red teamers here previously we were discussing about it. So let's go to the mouse a bit. So yeah, in the task 3 we have seen that. So this is the difference, right? So similar. We go into this. So this is what we have learned now. Right. And then the white cell serves as the referee between the red cells and blue cells. So they are coordinating it. They are coordinating it. So let's erase the unnecessary ones. Right. Let's move on. Okay, definitions are sourced from the red team guide. Okay, let's get that link. I will share it. If you don't have still access to, yeah, please. This is a great resource. As you can see, all the things are available. Such a wonderful people in the world. Don't you think so? Right. So these guys put everything in place for us to read and understand. Have you created such content? Just ask that question. Have you ever, I know some people who are already done it. Have you created such content for others to read? Yeah, guys, give me 1 sec. Yeah, sorry about it. So guys, so please read it. There's a lot here. So it's a free book and they talk about everything about red teaming, planning, right? And templates. Okay, that's great, right? So I really love when you have templates. So this is example of operator log, start, end, source IP. So there's Excel sheets also available. So let's see what other templates are available. This is a team report. Oh, that's wonderful. So you have to start with the goal. Now, when you're doing consultancy, this is what you need. So you need to have these reports, have a list of repository of reports. Or in, I have shown you my Notion, right? So what I do in my Notion, I think I have explained it to you earlier, right? So let me quickly show you. I have walls for everything. So I have these 3 things. I have walls or pillars. That's what I do in my life. And pipelines or how I organize my life, the projects, I think, and all that. I think I have shown this to you earlier. And then walls is where I have store everything. So I have different walls for everything. As an example, service account and subscription. I think I have shown you this. I don't think anything wrong is here. Anyway, so I have, as an example, I have not to be egoistic or something, right? Google, Medium, Linux, everything. So everything is there. So likewise, you can have those basically what you call as this the templates, a kind of a repo of that. Whenever you need it, just it's a matter of getting it from Notion or Obsidian or any other tool that you're using. Observations, goals, right? So yeah, so then the attack narrative is there. So these are quite cool stuff, right? And ROE templates. So yeah, so please use this and keep it in your bookmarks. I don't know, however you organize your stuff. And if you don't have an organization scheme, you are just pure stupid. So you start one. Create. How many of you have really organized systems, guys? Now, as an example, do you have very simple things like, do you have an organization system for your directories? Sorry about this one. So this is my organization system: projects, areas, resources, and archive. It's called para model. Some uses different models. So I have organization system. So projects will be here, and areas are like the everyday things, and resources. So if I go to Cyber CIS, I have everything resources. So I'm having my burp suit here, and I have my G Hydra here, and many more stuff. And as an example, if I'm want to learn anything, all my resources are also accordingly dispersed, right? So guys, make sure to do that. And if you wanted to, if you go to a mailbox, sorry, right now my drive is a bit of a mess. Last few weeks I've been experimenting things, right? So sorry about it, but I have again a very similar structure in my OneDrive. These are very simple things, but to become a consultant, you need to have a very proper plan. I'm not going to do it now. And any other thing, even your hard disks, backup disks, everything you have to organize yourself. So that's being a good consultant, right, guys? Hope that is clear. Right. So then, of course, I can answer the question. So in red teams, there are leads, assistants, and operators. So this is how the whole thing works together. The red cell is the red team, blue cell is the blue team, and white cell are the ones, they are the ones who truly manages the full operation. What cell is responsible for the offensive? Of course, red cell. That's not a big deal. Let's submit that. That should be correct. What cell is trusted agent considered part of course, white cell. Okay. Yeah, task 4 is almost done. And the engagement structure. Okay, this is a lot of good information. So let me have a bit of fun and see my percentage has grown up, or the rank has grown up. Yeah, it's like only 1,000 more, right? Okay, that's the fun part. Okay, so engagement structure. So it says core function of red team is adversarial emulation. Big word. Adversary means, of course, the attackers. Emulate is you are not a real attacker. You are not really the bad guy. You try to emulate being the bad guy. Sometimes as a dad or a mom, or maybe if you have even a younger brother, sometimes you try to emulate being adversary, right? Just to teach them a lesson that you do sometimes, right? That's how our structure is. We don't always, I mean, in Western philosophy, they say sometimes, okay, always be friendly with your, yeah, that's fine. But being at a time, you have to be a bit harsh as well. And that simply teaches the best lesson probably ever, and forever maybe. Once you have to hit your kid, they say don't touch your kid. What the fuck, right? So you have to hit the kid at once. I mean, this is a generation you all been, I mean, not every day, right? So your father probably had hit you once. That's enough. For me, like there's only one day that I got hit by my father. That's all, right? So then after there was no such thing, and I knew he did it for betterment of me. I mean, like, so fuck all the Western philosophers who say no, you should never hit them. But the problem is in Western world, I'm not saying not only in Western world, even it can be happening in the Eastern world. In Sri Lanka is a mess. So you don't build boundaries like Western or Eastern. They always hits their kid. That's stupid. You shouldn't do that. I mean, like then they get stressed out, then they get suicidal. So that's not, so you understand what I'm saying? There'll be adversary sometimes, and emulate it. And then you have to go to your kid and say, okay, you know, we've been doing wrong. So now you understand, just explain it. That's it. Yeah, anyway, I'm not the one to advise you on how to bring up kids, but anyway, you got the point. And while not mandatory, it is commonly used as a, so I'm reading here, but real adversary would an environment use their tools and methodology. Again, use TTPs. Okay, now many regulation standardization bodies have released this thing called cyber kill chain. Another big word, if you've never heard about it. The cyber kill chain is Lockheed Martin. And this is, yeah, Lockheed Martin, yes. So this is quite an interesting topic. So what is a cyber kill chain? So meaning like, it's like a chain of tools that you have. So as an example, if you watch, you should never watch it. That actor who was a criminal who been killing a lot of people. Not the Chainsaw Massacre. I think film I think it's a different ideology, but I'm not talking about that. But there's this award-winning movie, I can't remember. So he had a toolbox he used to kill people. So that is very common. And similarly, the real criminals, when you do an attack, there's a set of activities that they do. Right? So set of activities. It doesn't happen out of the blue. Right? As an example, the recent incidents when you look at from 2008 bombing, so 2018 bombing, 19 bombing to this point, it was a kill chain for Sri Lanka. Right? So when you analyze, the problem is we don't analyze ourselves. Prabhakaran is one of the persons who have understood how to attack Sri Lanka. Because he knew the vulnerabilities. Now, recently I was teaching my kid Sri Lankan history. You know what happened? Now, don't worry about it. Mulimmena Vijay Rajuru. King. I don't know whether Vijay Rajuru is good or bad, but that bugger came from India, hill country in India, and came and Vaddotika Hilavela, Vaddo Hilavela, there's a problem. And Buduhamdura Vedika, Naga, and they were fighting. And that's Vijay Rajuru Hilavela, Tarek Rajaveno. India and Tauparakela, Aru Hilavela, Aru Rajaveno. And then there's Nayakars coming into up to Polonnaruwa Yuga. And there was all these buggers coming and killing the Sri Lankan king and getting the then all every time our Sri Lankan system is Kaurari Baled in own Jaravada Kerlevella Baledeno. So then what happened? Polonnaruge, same logic. Most of the time Indians. Then and they are Menuta, Mohendajaru with the name. So not Mohendajaru, but with the China. And then what happened? So that was mainly in the times of Anuradhapura Yuga, Polonnaruwa Yuga, Dambadeniya. Then comes to the then the Yuga where the Westerners start coming now. First came the Portuguese, right? Portuguese Java. ඊට පස්සේ උන්ගලවන්න අපේ ලංකා මිනිස්සු ටික තව ටිකක් කෝක වැඩ කරලා ලන්දේ සිංහල ගත්තා. We never learned a lesson. Kill chain එක හැමදාම තියෙනවා. It's not a cyber kill chain, but Sri Lankan kill chain was every day. ඊට පස්සේ මොකද උනේ? Right? So I said I am using some bad words. Sorry about it. Then you got the Netherlands involved. Landes and Netherlands, right? Netherlands are involved to kill the Portuguese, and that happened. So Netherlands, then to kill the Netherlands, you got the Queen the bitch and the rest of the party getting involved. So Queen is a bitch, right? They've been taking all our stuff. But again, I said wrong word, but in a way they are better than our politicians. They at least grounded some good concepts, policies to our country, saying at least don't be this stupid, right? Have a system. Right? There are really great generals to there were some good guys who really entrusted. But if you really looked at the Kandy and Nora Yuga, my goodness, so much of irony. Like this is not like kings selling other kings. Lanka system mega cooler system mega. I'm completely against this thing, but Indians also do the same thing, but in a very different structure. They say Indians are more bad than Sri Lanka, but Sri Lankans are more bad. Like Lanka there are Vasagam, you guys are maybe having the same Vasagam, right? So they were selling others. So it's a kill chain. And the Indian buggers, Portuguese buggers, Netherlands, Nandesi, English buggers, and including now Chinese and US and whoever rest, right? Only people who didn't come to ours is like maybe this everybody blame Saddam Hussein, but they never came here. They never want to kill chain it. I don't know, maybe to my knowledge, or maybe not Iranians, or maybe not even, I don't know, Saudi kings, at least that we know of, right? So, but there is a kill chain activities that they do in a chain. They know how to trigger it. Suddenly somebody goes out. That's probably the same reason GoType has to go out. Same thing happening right now, guys. So learn lessons from the history. History gonna go. But Lanka history ka sampurna venas karla තියෙනවා කියන්නේ Jackson අන්තිමට බැන්නේ කාලයක් history වෙනස් කරා කියලා. That is a bad germ. It shouldn't be ever done. He's a great guy. He's a great an actor and all that. But if you're done changing history and manipulating history like King Vijay is the best, and it's nothing. You have to really understand what had happened, right or wrong. If you understand, and you can build a nice Sri Lankan kill chain, right, and understand what had gone wrong. So if you understand it's going to go again and again, don't stay here, just migrate. That's okay, right? So that's my way of thinking about it. Similarly, guys, now we come to the cyber kill chain, this is the kill chain that they have figured out. මේකට වෙනස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඉස්සර තිබ්බ වෙන kill chain එක. අපි cyber security ගන්න කාලේ there was a simple kill chain, right? You say evaluate, analyze, blah blah blah. It's more complicated than that. There's a recon stage, weaponized stage, delivery stage, exploitation stage, installation, command and control, and that is, guys, what you call as MITRE. There's other guys who are doing this, but MITRE framework is somewhat very similar. And they have a downloadable content. You can go and have a look at it. And you have to basically say, live on this for the next few years, whether you're going to do anything in cybersecurity. Right? And this is, my advice is not only for cybersecurity guys, any CISO, any CIO, they have to live and breed MITRE, right? So learn the kill chain, like our good governance, central bank governor knows this kill chain, what can kill Sri Lankan economy. This is what can kill information. So today's world, now we are using AI and all that. It can kill our information bases. So this is the enterprise matrix. And remember, this can get updated, and this is a very complex thing. And cool thing about MITRE, please watch my video. This is something that is searchable. That is the good thing about the modern day technology. If you can put it into a nice framework like this, you can search and understand things faster. Unfortunately, no one had developed, sorry for going a little bit beyond, a kill chain for Sri Lankan situation. But anyway, that's not the lesson for the day. Right. So this is one that I would highly recommend, the MITRE framework. But there are other things like Active Directory Attack Cycle. This is, how do you pronounce it? Varonis? Maybe Varonis, no? Cyber kill chain, Unified kill chain, and the Lockheed Martin. So all these are great ones. So please, guys, yeah, go ahead. Any question?
Excuse me, sir, there is a question. Now, there was a hack at Education Ministry.
Yeah.
I think there is, there are news stories. As for a research purpose, are we able to get the information on the incident from CERT or something?
What had happened, is it?
And, yeah, I'm interested in the way this kid hacked. I heard that it is the data was in a text file, but actually not confirmed.
Yeah. First, I have never, I've not really looked into that matter, because I know Sri Lankan websites are 100% vulnerable. It's not a big deal for me, from my point of view, technically. But anybody can hack Sri Lankan websites, most of it. So ICT is just a, I think, what is the right word? I mean, එතන තියෙන්නේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ සල්ලි හම්බ කරන්න තියෙන තැනක් විතරයි. එතන මෙහාට ICT ගැන I don't want to make any comments.
No, I am saying the Sri Lanka cert.
No, just give me a second. So if ICT had done a good job, the Sri Lankan website should be more secure. So that's a full of shit place. That's the first thing. SLCert, TechCert, the operation that they do is highly confidential to my knowledge, Ranjan, but you can talk to them and see, as probably a general citizen, you'll be able to get some information. Right? But again, beyond that, I don't know, there's one particular place where you can, because police would never give out the information. For the media people, maybe they can give out a filtered out set of information. But yeah, it's good to study it, because there's a lot more things other than the technicality of the attack. Of course, there's other things. What had happened to the kid? What was the decision being taken? Those are the good things to study. And I think the kid is a kid, right? So Bala Vayaskar or whatever, you have to understand, okay, it's a kid, and the operations that they are done may be illegal. So is the knowledge available for people not to do it? So there are a lot of other questions that we can ask as general citizens, maybe a doctor, maybe a psychologist, or maybe a lawyer, or maybe somebody is working on cyber security. So these are general questions we should ask. Yeah. So it's good to do that. But to answer your question in short, maybe yes, you can make a call to SLCert, not TechCert, and they might give some information. And of course, Google it. You might find some information, but I'm not really interested, because, yeah. So you know the problem in Sri Lanka. It's a different matter. Anyway, okay, then yeah, thanks. So then these are the other kill chains. You guys can have a look at them. So I'm not going to go through all the details. But remember, there are a lot more kill chains developed than the MITRE attack, right? So that's what you have to remember. Right. So then, of course, these are the stages in the kill chain. So the stages which you have to really understand. Okay. Okay, so then I'll just finish up quickly on this. If an advisor deployed and Mimikatz, we have seen Mimikatz in APT group also on a target machine, where would they place the lock? Okay, so what do you think? Advisor deployed Mimikatz target machine. Exploitation, ne? It should be exploitation. So you exploit the machine. Oops, what happened? Oh, no. Installation, no installation, sorry. Install malware. So Mimikatz is not really a malware, but it can do a lot of things. Am I right? Yes, good. What techniques purpose is to exploit target system to execute code? What techniques purpose? Purpose is this one, no? Install malware. Yep. But I don't know what they're asking for here. There's no hint given. What techniques purpose to exploit? Is it malware? Yeah, I'm not really going to worry like what is the answer. So you can just find it out. It's installation, maybe installation. Again, installation, is it? Nope. Exploitation, maybe exploitation. Purpose is written on the other side, but I don't know whether it's okay, that's right, exploitation. Okay, so then finally OEO for red team engagement. So now there's a practical example provided. So this is a great thing about what you call as TryHackMe. So they can give you very convenient ways of learning this. All the things we discuss come together when performing a red team engagement. To better understand how the component stakeholders interact, we will analyze a simplified example. So I click visit site. Okay, and notice how the cyber chain naturally aligns the exercise. We start with the recon phase, reconnaissance, again information gather karna, where we gather as much as intel, and we can about our target. Okay, followed by weaponization and these stages, right? So then continued by exploitation, and we have a alleviate privilege of Bob's PC. මේක ලංකාවේ ඕන තැනක වෙන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් සමහර අපේ ස්ටුඩන්ට් රංජන් කරේ මේ වගේ දෙයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Without not knowing even the kill chain, he have understood there's a problem, somehow got access to somebody's PC, say examine a PC, and then access the file. And so that's probably what had happened. Right, and then get the compromise host to dump the password, examination file sticker, and perform a lateral movement. Okay, click the visit site button and follow the example until you get the flag. So we'll do that. White and red teams define goals. Goals can kata kara. Blue team is usually not interested in the stage above the exercise we want to analyze. So we know that the differences between two teams now. Red team gathers as much as information, technologies, employees, photos, blah, blah, blah. Threat intelligence sources are also check APTs, TTPs, and as an example, you can check car banks information. So this is a site there's about some car, right? Or a car organization. So you can get, I don't know, car bank is one of those car banak, no, sorry. It's a cyber criminal group. So you can get information about that as well. Yeah, Gayan have shared this. I think it's okay to share it. Real story is that I think he did not hack. Even now results are in open. Visit the following link. Yeah, maybe okay, right. Yeah, thanks guys. So if a convenient developer, I mean, with bit of information, you can basically get all these things. So it's truly Lanka. I'm not going to comment many things. Maybe just a matter of the way how you search, right? So it was make a for loop print not a big deal, ne? Yeah. Thanks for putting it there. Niranjan, you can follow through, right? So that was the link. So that is basically a JSON. Is it JSON or what was it? Just a simple web request, no? Yeah, it's not a big deal. Anyway, okay. So you can get this car banak. So that's the ATP group. With all the information, now we have got information, hit the target, okay. The red team starts engagement by emulating phishing campaign. Attack phishing campaign. Employees the next target Julie Smith, John Watson. Bank example. The phishing campaign was detected. The blue team sent an email. The blue team is a Danagan Memak Karna Kila. Egolo Karuna click Deva. Blue team sent an email to employees to warn them ongoing threat. Right. So they have sent the email. The red team found missing Windows patches on Bob's PC. They have found that there's a problem with Bob's PC. Bob can examine. One of them allow for a print nightmare exploitation. Exploitation. Yeah? So you can find all these things in different places. So I mean, exploit. So today's 2 o'clock one, you can even learn some of these things, but it's a starting one, right? Don't expect to learn a lot of today. Yeah, thanks, Gan. It's a JSON request. This is API. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm like, still it's open. And these buggers have done something, so forget about it. Yeah, so there's no point of talking about these things, but we are learning to apply into Sri Lanka. Of course, this has to be improved, but no one is listening because there's a lot of politics involved. I told you NDB Bank, not NDB, sorry, Nation Trust Bank, අපි කිව්වා අපේ ළමයිට ගිහලා පෙන්නුවා but ඒගොල්ලෝ තනිකර හොර දැක්කලා ළමයිට පස්සෙන් එරවල දැම්මා ඒකට කිසිම grant එකක්වත් bounty එකක්වත් දෙන්නේ නැතුව ඒ වගේ like scams, right? And I know there are a few other banks who had got hit that never disclosed information. Illegal, clear illegal, but legal system එක ලංකාවේ cracked. While the available public exploits were detected by many AV solutions, some AV evasion technique was successfully applied. So, nothing to worry too much about it. And they have done that. And emulating TTP lateral movement. Now, attack delivery, privilege escalate delivery. Now, red team uses pass the hash attack against all the network to check if the backups on the backups. While the pass hash attempts triggered many alerts, login attempts from the user backups, the blue team ignored them as were confused. The blue team was attack. After finishing the exercise, okay, so I don't want to go beyond that. So this is the whole thing that happened. You can carefully go that. This is the flag. So let me submit the flag and let me go to the conclusion and I say all that. And that gives me the congratulations one. Then of course I can get, okay, so I can get some tickets. So if you do this red team fundamentals, all free, guys, you don't have to pay even, you get some tickets as well, right? So if you go somewhere in the TryHackMe, you can see the tickets that you have won. Was it resources? Yeah. No, I should be somewhere else. Anyway, thanks. And I hope that you have learned few lessons. Good. I have gone down from 200,000 to 199,000. Okay, let's see what's going to happen next week. Right, guys, any questions? Any questions? All good?